Well, I get a lot of requests. Can I do a video of how I clean my nano tanks? This is not that video. Well, welcome back to the Small Scape. I'm Joanna. If we have not met, welcome to the world of nano tanks. Yes, I am not doing the video how I clean my nano tanks. I'm actually going to be telling you a few of my tips and tricks how I like to keep my nano tanks looking good all week long. There are a few things that you can do that I recommend that you should give it a shot, that you can do every day, every other day, however you want to work it. Works really great for me. Let me know your tips. You'll get the absolute greatest tips. We have a great community here. When you read all the comments down below, I get the craziest tips. One of these days, I'm going to do a video of all the best tips that I have learned from you. Anyways, without further ado, let's get started. Okay, tip number one for those of us who love floating plants. I love them. They're really great. They're kind of a pro, and they're also a con for your tanks. They can help your maintenance, but they also can increase your maintenance. So what I like to do is to kind of wrangle them into control. They do tend to multiply very quickly. You probably know that, especially duckweed. So what I like to do is not just prune. I call it pruning my floating plants. Reduce the general population. I like to do that every couple days. Whenever I'm walking by the tank, grab a handful. Get your net. Make sure it's handy. Take off a bunch. I like to leave only about a quarter of it, maybe even just a couple if you have Amazon frog bit or dwarf water lettuce, whatever you have floating on the top of your tank, hornwort, reduce it. Make sure you only have like a couple because they quickly populate and you're gonna have more in no time, or if you're like me, you have it in many tanks so you don't have to worry about running out. So reduce it, and then you don't have to worry about it completely covering your tank. I had that happen once and it killed my crypts. They did come back, they bounced back and all. But yeah, you do not want that completely overtaking the top, and you don't want to leave it for once a week so that you have nets and nets full of your floating plants and a duckweed. The second tip I really like to do is not only once a week do I like to clean the glass. There are some tanks that happen to look really great, and there are some other tanks that have historically not looked great. And the difference is, if I am willing and I have something handy to clean the glass, clean it before you have to get out the razor blade, the heavy duty, even though I do like the plastic razor blades, you know that, they're really handy, but clean it every other day, every day. Just don't forget the sides, don't forget the back, and just give it a quick little wipe with whatever you like. There are certain little things that I like, and I was gonna have them to show you, and I do not have them to show you. Where did I put them? What I like, you can use whatever you like. I'm sure you have your opinions on what you like to use to clean your glass. I've done a lot of videos. I'll try and link them down below. The dish fish, this is really great and really handy to have around. A lot of you like toothbrushes. These are also really handy. Nice little handle. You can just quickly clean the glass before it gets to where you really have to scrape and use some elbow grease. What I really like though are these little guys. They're like little tiny dishcloths, but they're like makeup removers, I think, but they're just really soft. And I like to use, they come in a nice pack, got them at the grocery store. Remember that video? Okay. I like to have one that I use for the glass that, you just completely do the sides and the front. Then I have another one that I like to keep dry. And this is a great tip, after you clean the glass, the area above the water line, try and remember, dry it off. Just a great tip, because you're gonna get water spots. And if you don't have any water spots, your tank's gonna look way better. The next tip, whenever you're walking by your tanks, every day, every other day, whatever, try and just kind of make sure you don't have any little dead pieces of plants, any leaves floating around, any that are just falling off, or some that are just not looking so good. Try and just pull them out right away. Don't let it bother you, and it'll make the tank look even better. And while you're at it, If you have any plants that are getting uprooted because maybe you have a little crazy band of Corys like I do in my tank, and they like to dig up plants, just go ahead and replant them. I like to have the long tweezers handy, or even just like a bamboo skewer that you can just poke, make sure that the plants stay down, and that'll keep your tank looking great. Now my last tip it really has to do with all the other tips that I just gave you. The difference between some of my tanks that really look great all the time and other tanks that, well, they don't look as good as they could every single day is the proximity of all of these items that I have just mentioned. How close are these items that you would, boy, I wish I could reach the bottom of that tank, or boy, I wish I could just wipe off those water spots. Make sure you have everything handy, and that's yet another great thing about nano tanks is that the supplies are generally smaller. The amount of things that you need to have are, well, they can be fewer. So have your little wipes handy. Have them however you want to contain your stuff. I always have a pitcher or a watering can close to any of my tanks so that I can just quickly fill it up, drop in some extra water. Have your toothbrush handy, your long handled tweezers, anything that you use, towels. If you make a mess like around your tank, you can quickly clean it up. Glass spray, of course, be careful when you're spraying it, so that you can keep everything looking tidy and you don't have to really go anywhere to do this. So I just really like to keep everything right by my tanks, and it's because I'm lazy. I really am. I'm very lazy. So there are my tips. And again, share your favorite tip. How do you keep your tanks looking great throughout the week? And I look forward to reading those, as I'm sure you will. And I hope you're having a great day, and I'll see you in the next one.